In our last video, we scrutinized the Ashanti claims put forth by the author of the book Hebrewisms of West Africa and drew conclusions based on concrete evidence. Our assessment led us to find flaws and inaccuracies in his assertions. I mentioned my intent to adopt his methodology, which emphasized a strong Hebraic influence to draw further conclusions. So what I'm going to do in this video is to employ the methodology of the author of the Hebrewisms of West Africa, which emphasized a strong Hebraic influence. And I'm going to use that to draw further conclusions. Furthermore, I indicated addressing the Akans claim advocated by some proponents of the Ashanti theory. So one of the Ashanti apologetics or proponents, his name is Yawada. Yawada means Thursday in the Akans dialect. So Yawada 649 states, in the Hebrew Bible, Akan is the Hebrew word for Akan, a biblical figure who appears in the book of Joshua in connection with the fall of Jericho and conquest of Ai. Akan is the son of Kami, a descendant of Zimri, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah. And into parentheses, he writes, an Israelite. And then he exclaims, thank God. And he continues, laugh out loud. You all don't know anything about the Bible. So stop placing judgment on people based on envy. You notice this sounds really like an apologetic. But hey, my brother Yawada, no hard feelings. No hard feelings. We know your position, and we're going to delve into your position. We'll see where the chips fall. Awesome. So, these claims have been highlighted. Let's begin by examining this Akans narrative to unravel its implications. During the conquest of Jericho, divine instructions prohibited any spoils of war as it was deemed a holy endeavor where everything was to be consumed or destroyed by fire or whatever means. So it's a holy war here. The battle was reported as a triumph. Yet, in a typical fashion, driven by the penchant for material wealth, penchant, the fondness for material wealth, what the Akans say, ejapadie. The Ashantis are known for that. Driven by the penchant, the fondness for material wealth, an individual named Akans succumbed to temptation. He appropriated a garment from Shinar, along with 200 shekels of silver and a gold bar weighing 50 shekels. Subsequently, Joshua faced defeat in the ensuing battle of Ai, resulting in the loss of around 36 men. A dismayed Joshua sought divine guidance and received instructions on uncovering the transgressor. These were the instructions. Get up, consecrate the people, and say, consecrate yourself for tomorrow, for thus says the Lord, God of Israel. There are devoted things in your midst, O Israel. You cannot stand before your enemies until you take away the devoted things from among you. In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought near by your tribes, and the tribe that the Lord takes by lot shall come near by clans, and the clan that the Lord takes shall come near by households, and the household that the Lord takes shall come near man by man. And he who is taken with the devoted things shall be burned with fire, he and all that he has. Put that in your spirit. It is important. Because he has transgressed the covenant of the Lord, and because he has done an outrageous thing in Israel. So, Joshua was tasked with identifying the transgressor through a process of elimination. Tribe, clan, household, and then man. The investigation led to the selection of the tribe of Judah, then the clan of Zerah, further pinpointing the household of Zabdi, and ultimately identifying the ancestor of the Akans, Akan. Okay, let's move with this theory. This Akan guy or Akan guy is the progenitor of the Akans. While the people of Judah, Zerah, and Zabdi are not Akans, Akan, the forefather of the Akans, holds that distinction. In a similar manner to how Amalek, the son of Eliphaz, gave rise to the Amalekites, Akan, who we are being told is Akan, according to these apologetics or Ashanti proponents, will be seen as the progenitor or the progeny of the Akan lineage. Eliphaz's son Amalek gave rise to the Amalekites. So Akan here means that he's going to give rise to the Akans. Put that in your spirit. What happened to this progenitor, this forefather, Akan, of the Akans? He met a grim fate, being burned alongside his entire household, including his dog, and subsequently stoned to death. Let's read the account. So Joshua rose early in the morning and brought Israel near tribe by tribe, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought near the clans of Judah, and the clans of the Zerahites were taken. And he brought near the clan of the Zerahites man by man, and Zabdi was taken. And he brought near his household man by man, and Akan, the son of Carmi, son of Zabdi, son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. Then Joshua said to Akan, "My son, give glory to the Lord God of Israel, and give praise to him. And tell me now what you have done. Do not hide it from me." And Akan answered Joshua, "Truly I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and this is what I did. When I saw among the spoil a beautiful cloak from Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold weighing 50 shekels. Then I coveted them and took them." And see, they are hidden in the earth inside my tent, with the silver underneath. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent, and behold, it was hidden in his tent with the silver underneath. And they took them out of the tent and brought them to Joshua and to all the people of Israel, and they laid them down before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the cloak, and the bar of gold, and his sons and daughters, and his oxen and donkeys and sheep, and his tent. They took everything, and all that he had, and they brought them up to the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, "Why did you bring trouble on us? The Lord brings trouble on you today." And all Israel stoned him with stones. They burned them with fire and stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones that remains to this day. Then the Lord turned from his burning anger. Therefore, to this day, the name of this place is called the Valley of Achor. Again, Achan met a grim fate, burned alongside his entire household, including his dog, and subsequently stoned to death. This severe punishment resulted in the termination of his lineage. Kaput, as the Germans will say. His lineage is terminated. Now, let's reason. Given this outcome, how can one assert the lineage of the Akans stemming from such a figure? I mean, the argument falls flat on its face. If this is the progenitor of today's Akans, you would need a miracle. Possibly, you would need a very interesting midrash to tell us how a man whose lineage is cut off possibly became the progenitor of the Akans. You see the flaw in the claim. The flaw in the claim becomes glaringly evident. How can one assert the lineage of the Akans stemming from such a figure, given this outcome, when his lineage is ended? It's akin to asserting that Uriah, a Hittite warrior who bears a Hebrew name meaning Yahweh is my light, that's what Uriah means, is Hebrew. Because he has a Hebrew name, these proponents of the Ashanti or the Akans, these apologetics, envision that as being Hebrew because somebody has a Hebrew name. But yet we have Uriah, a Hittite warrior, having a Hebrew name. That does not make him Hebrew. He is a Hittite bearing a Hebrew name. These proponents conveniently overlook another instance of the name Akan in the Bible. I'm going to hang my hat on that one. I will spotlight this overlooked reference to build my case as relying on Achan as the progenitor of the Akans is simply implausible. But there is another mention of Akan in the biblical text. And these proponents conveniently overlook it. Let's highlight it and make our claims. Before we do that, what approach am I adopting here? I am following the same Hebraic influenced methodology employed by the author of Hebrewisms of West Africa concerning the Ashanti claim. I will tell you what I would have titled this book after showing you the other reference of the Akans in the biblical text. Turning our attention to Genesis 35, following the passing of Rachel and Isaac, we encounter an extensive enumeration of Esau's descendants. In Genesis 35:27, we find the lineage. These are the sons of Ezer: Bilhan, Zaphan, and who? Akan. I'll repeat that because you've never read it. In Genesis 35:27, we read, "These are the sons of Ezer." And this is the enumeration of Esau's descendants, that is Edom. These are the sons of Ezer: Bilhan, Zaphan, and who? Akan. So this reference establishes a connection between Akan and the descendants of Esau, that is Edom, suggesting a historical link between the two lineages. This genealogy traces a lineage from Akan to Esau, or we can flip it the other way around. It traces the lineage from Esau, that is Edom, to Akan, highlighting the ancestral connection between these individuals. From the top, you have Esau, Eliphaz, Ada, Hesed, Kemuel, Aram, Uz, Dishan, Ezer, and then you have Akan. Akan is listed as one of the sons of Ezer in Genesis 36:27. Awesome. We have another mention in the book of Chronicles where the name is written as Jaakan. Jaakan. In 1 Chronicles 1:34-42, the lineage is traced from Abraham to Akan, establishing a connection between Akan and the descendants of Esau, which is Edom. This genealogy highlights the ancestral link between Akan and the broader lineage of Edom, meaning that the Akans are Edomites. I repeat that, meaning that the Akans, and by that the Ashanti people, are Edomites, according to the genealogy that we have in the biblical text. I did not write this. Now, the funny thing is that my apologetic friend, Yawada, agrees with me actually. Look on the screen. He writes, they highlighted or the underlined, Ezer was a Hebrew. He was not an Egyptian or a Hamite. Laugh out loud. I don't think anybody said that he was an Egyptian or a Hamite. He was the son of Esau, so he admits that Ezer is the son of Esau. Esau was the son of Isaac. He admits that. He was Jacob's brother, correct? And the name Akan is a Hebrew name. So he's linking Akan to Ezer, who he links to Esau. He continues, This is why the Hebrews will call themselves Akan. Yes, Esau is a Hebrew, but he's not an Israelite. And if Esau is a Hebrew and the Akans trace their lineage to Esau, as my apologetic Ashanti brother asserts, that makes the Akans what? Edomites. It's as simple as that. So he substantiates my claim that the Akans are Edomites. He starts by saying, this is completely false. He was answering somebody who had made the claim that the Ashantis were Edomites. He's answering the person. So he says, this is completely false. Another fallacy. First of all, you people don't know what you're talking about at all. And you all don't read the Bible, obviously. So he reads the Bible, he's going to tell us something. Ezer, who is an Edomite, was a Hebrew. That's correct. He was not a Hamite or an Egyptian. That is correct. He was the son of Esau. That makes him an Edomite. And if Akan comes from Ezer, that makes Akan what? An Edomite. So, my number one Ashanti apologetics does agree that the Akans, like himself, are Edomites. Let's continue. This genealogy traces the lineage from Abraham down to Akan, illustrating the ancestry leading to Akan within the context of the broader genealogical line of Esau, that is Edom. In 1 Chronicles, you have it as Abraham, Isaac, Esau, Eliphaz, Teman, Dishan, Ezer, and then you have who? Akan. So from the genealogical connections outlined between Akan and Edom, we have confirmed a significant link between the two. To further support this connection, what additional evidence or correlations can we identify? Well, in Edom's history, 8 kings or 8 houses ruled over the land. Here is the list of these rulers, these houses, along with their corresponding biblical references. We have Bela, we have Jobab, we have Hushan, we have Hadad, we have Samlah, we have Shaul, we have Baal Hanan, we have Haddah. 8 houses, 8 kings ruled over the land of Edom. Why is this significant? Because the significance of 8 houses in Edom, the ancestors of the Akans, is mirrored in the Ashanti tradition. I repeat that. The significance of 8 houses in Edom is mirrored in the Ashanti tradition. Nana Kwame the 12th, paramount chief of the Asin Apimenim ethnic group in central Ghana and former president of the Central Region's House of Chiefs, highlighted the 8 houses among the Ashanti people. We have Eduana, Agona, Asona, Asinie, Asokore, Beretuo, Ekwana, and Oyoko. 8 houses of the Ashanti, mirroring the 8 houses of their Edomite ancestors. Let's get some more correlations. We have already mentioned the genealogy of Esau, where we met one of his descendants named Eliphaz. Let's take a moment to center our attention on Eliphaz. He had a son named Amalek, who is considered the ancestor of the Amalekites. The lineage connecting Eliphaz to Amalek is as follows. Eliphaz, the son of Esau. Eliphaz had a concubine named Timnah. From Eliphaz and Timnah's union, Amalek was born. Genesis 36, verses 12. Therefore, Amalek is considered a descendant of Eliphaz, who is in turn a son of Esau, establishing the genealogical connection between these figures. So when you mention Amalek, you're talking about an Edomite. What is Amalek, a descendant of Esau, known for? What is their aversion rooted in? Much like the Ashanti descendants of Edom, let's delve into this. After Israel's departure from Egypt, Amalek launched a surprise attack on them in a cowardly fashion, driven by their disdain for what? Circumcision. I'll repeat that. After Israel's departure from Egypt, Amalek launched a surprise attack on them in a cowardly fashion. What drove this attack? It was driven by Amalek's disdain for circumcision. Just like the Ashanti's disdain for circumcision. This act of aggression led to a decree to eradicate the presence of Amalek. Now, according to rabbinical teachings, the Amalekites, in a gesture of mockery towards the Israelites, their deity, and the practice of circumcision, deliberately mutilated any Judean individual they attacked. Deuteronomy 25, 17 to 19 tells us, "Remember what Amalek did to you on the way as you came out of Egypt, how he attacked you on the way when you were faint and weary, and cut off your tail." Put that phrase in your spirit. "Those who were lagging behind you, and he did not fear God. Therefore, when the Lord your God has given you rest from all your enemies around you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance to possess, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. You shall not forget." Awesome. Now Rashi, in his commentary, elucidates. He says, "and cut off." He says the word is derived from the word meaning tail. Thus, the verse means Amalek cut off the tail. This refers to the fact that Amalek cut off the members of the male Jews, where they had been circumcised, and cast them up provocatively towards heaven, exclaiming to God, "You see, what good has your commandment of circumcision done for them?" This is what Rashi comments. Rashi's reference is specifically from Midrash Tanhuma. Let's delve into this source for deeper insights. Let's quote it, so you know I'm not making this up. Midrash Tanhuma, Deuteronomy 25:18. and he cut off all who were lagging behind you. He smote them with a blow to the tail. And this agrees with what Rabbi Hanina bar Shilka said. What did the house of Amalek do to Israel? They cut off their penis and flung them heavenward, and they said, "This is what you have chosen. Take for yourself what you have chosen." So as we have seen, just like their ancestor Edom, the Ashanti also had a disdain for circumcision. They considered it a disability, a deformity, and if you were an Ashanti royal, it was frowned upon for you to be circumcised. And the Ashanti men traditionally were not circumcised because of the disdain, like their ancestor Esau, for circumcision. I'm not saying this. The rabbis are saying it. Now, continuing, a man comes on the scene named Haman, and he is introduced as an Agagite. It reads, "After these events, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him, and placed his seat above all the princes who were with him." In my commentary on the book of Esther, on this verse, I state, Chapter 1 was set in the 3rd year of Ahasuerus' reign, and Chapter 2 documents events leading up to his 7th year. Now in Chapter 3, we are taken to the 12th year of the king. The name Haman and Hammedatha are names that fit Persian names from this period. Generally, in Tanakh, we are introduced to a person by their name, which is Haman, their patrony, which is Hammedatha, and often an additional identification either of a city, region, tribe, or clan association. This leaves us wondering what the Agagite is. Could the Agagite refer to a clan name or the name of a town? Agag was not the name of any known nation of the time. So this is Rabbi Akwetey writing a commentary on the book of Esther, and he's being scholarly, not making things up, but using the methodology of the author of the Hebrewisms of West Africa. We are not involved in scholarly discourse here. So let's go for it. Some rabbinic commentators, however, unlike what Rabbi Akwetey may think, some rabbinic commentators, however, see Agagite as an epithet indicating Haman was a descendant of Agag, the king of the Amalekites. So Haman is also related to the Ashanti people, or the Akans, as he is also a descendant of Esau. What does the art scroll tell us about this descendant of Esau, of Edom? The art scroll, Gemara Megillah 16b2, in the footnotes 27 and 30, it cites Rashi, and this is what it says, that Haman decreed that the Jews may not study Torah or circumcise their children. After his death, they were able to return to the study of Torah and the mitzvah of Milah. Brit Milah, Hebrew, is the mitzvah, the command of circumcision. Here again, we see the pattern of disdain for circumcision linked to the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, just like the Ashanti people. The command Amalek hated the most, according to the rabbis, is Brit Milah, the covenant of circumcision. So, as observed, similar to their forebearer Edom, the Ashanti also held a contempt for circumcision, viewing it as a deficiency or a disfigurement. Enter a figure named Haman, identified as an Agagite in the scripture, and he also has a disdain for circumcision. And just like the author of Hebrewisms of West Africa, we are setting aside rigorous critical scholarship, and instead, we are focusing on the Edomite essence of the narrative. So if I was writing a book, I would have named it EDOMITES or EDOMITESms of West Africa or EDOMITESms of the Ashanti, which is what I am pointing out here. Since clearly we have set aside rigorous critical scholarship in making our assertions and claims. This is the standard that we are fighting for, so let's have it. Now, let's turn our attention to the well-known pages of history. In the 1800s, a significant movement known as Zionism took root in Europe. It aimed to repatriate the Jewish community or the Jewish population to Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. By 1990, a declaration officially recognized Palestine as the Jewish homeland, sparking a substantial influx of immigrants from Europe into the land of Israel after 2 millennia of exile. Then, in 1933, a pivotal figure emerged in history with an ideology bent on the annihilation of the Jewish people. His name was Adolf. Now, was Adolf a descendant of Edom, specifically Amalek? Let's delve into this question. The Talmud raises an inquiry regarding the interpretation of Psalms 140 verses 8, which reads, "Grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wicked. Do not further their evil plot, or they will be exalted." Selah. For further insight on this topic, let's refer to our source, Talmud Megillah 6b. What does it tell us? And Rabbi Yitzhak also said, "What is the meaning of that which is written? Grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wicked. Further not his evil device, so that they not exalt themselves." Selah. He quotes Psalms 140 verses 9. Jacob said before the Holy One, "Blessed be he, Master of the universe, grant not to the wicked Esau the desire of his heart, as he wishes to destroy us. Further not his evil device." Meaning that do not remove the muzzle that constrains him and prevents him from breaking out and gathering further strength. Rabbi Isaac continues, this is a reference to Germania of Edom, that is Germany, which is near the land of Edom, that is Rome. As if the Germans would go forth, they will destroy the entire world. There you have it. The Talmud is the one quoting it. It's not me. I'm just pointing you out to the sources. I'm just pointing you to my sources. In 1871, the nation of Germany was established. Remarkably, at the time the Talmud was written, 1600 years ago, Germany did not exist as a nation. However, the Talmud intriguingly associates Psalms 140 verses 8 and 9 with Germania of Edom. drawing a connection that links Adolf to Edom. To delve deeper into this correlation, let's gather additional data. The Talmud further elaborates. And Rabbi Hama bar Hanani said, there are 300 young princes with crowns tied to their heads in Gemamiah of Edom. Meaning there are 300 crown princes of Gemamiah of Edom. And there are 365 chieftains in Rome. Every day, these go out to battle against those, and one of them is killed. And they are preoccupied with appointing a new king in his place. Let's read it again. There are 300 crown princes tied to Gemamiah of Edom. Paraphrasing it. Why is this important? By 1350, the German monarchy transitioned to a purely elective system, diminishing the authority of the emperors. As 1500 approached, Germany evolved into a mosaic of approximately 300 autonomous states, just as the Talmud tells us. There are 300 young princes with crowns tied to their heads in Gemamiah of Edom. Further tying Adolf to Esau to Edom. Follow me. Where am I going? In 1937, Adolf Hitler's architect, Albert Speer, undertook the monumental task of reshaping Berlin from its expansive form into Germania, envisioned as the grand new capital of a greater German world empire, intended to be the focal point of the civilized world. Still tying Adolf to Edom. If further evidence is needed to establish the link between Adolf and Amalek, consider this. What commandment did Amalek detest the most? Circumcision, as we have proven it. Now, reflect on Adolf's words. He says, the 10 commandments have lost their validity. Consciousness is a Jewish invention. It is a blemish like circumcision. The descendant of Amalek, who is of Edom, again, with countless proofs, show that they have a disdain for circumcision. Just like the Ashanti Edomites, who also have a disdain for circumcision. So here you have it. My presentation of evidence and sources linking the Akans and by extension the Ashanti people to Edom. I have referenced the Akan people as descendants of Edom from biblical text and illustrated their aversion to circumcision by invoking references to Amalek, Haman from the Bible, and Adolf from recent history. These pieces of evidence, along with the Ashanti tribe's inclusion, suggest their connection to Edom. They are Edomites. If we're using the same methodology that the author of Hebrewisms of West Africa uses, if we're supposed to use the same methodology that these Ashanti proponents, apologetics, use, this is where the evidence leads us to. Now, let's shift focus locally. Let me ask you, those who know, what is a common point of pride for the Ashanti people? They boast about their numbers, particularly their formidable standing army during colonial times. They have a saying that emphasizes resilience. Wuku apema apembeba. What does it mean? When you kill 1,000, another 1,000 would come. Wuku apema apembeba. That's why they are referred to as kotoku. Kotoku. Now we've made it kotoko. Now, we know that the common point of pride for all Ashanti people, they boast about their numbers. How do you express a multitude in Akan? How do you express a multitude in the Ashanti dialect? Edom. You did not hear me. It is expressed as Edom. Yenye bako, yenye mienu, ye Edom. We are not one, we are not two, we are a multitude. I repeat it again. The common point of pride for the Ashanti people is that they boast about their numbers, particularly their formidable standing army during colonial times. How do you express a multitude in Ashanti? Edom. Telling you they are Edomites. Again, applying the same methodology that these people apply online. Applying the same methodology that the author of Hebrewisms of West Africa applies. This is where the evidence leads us. So are the Ashantis connected to Edom? I'm going to use the author of Hebrewisms of West Africa, his train of thought, and then expose something. I'm all for scholarship, honest one, and this is a critical review. In the discussion regarding the interpretation of Ashan, meaning smoke, the author highlights that the Hebrew word primarily signifies smoke, especially in the context of a burning city, and figuratively in reference to the destruction of Israel. This is what he tells us. However, a fair analysis devoid of bias or dogma would have acknowledged the usage in the context of the destruction of Edom as well, as indicated in the same source that the author references. But conveniently, he omits the connection of Ashan to Edom. The author sidesteps addressing this aspect. And he does that by conveniently omitting this connection to Edom. So Ashan links the Ashanti people to Edom based on his own assertions, but he decides to omit it. That is not honest scholarship. While this content could potentially form a basis of an intriguing PhD dissertation manuscript entitled EDOMITES of the Gold Coast, the credibility of my assertions may be subject to scrutiny. And I myself, I am prepared to undertake the task of refuting the arguments that I have just presented in this video, because they are not credible. But this is the standard that is being used on the internet in some of these books that try to push this agenda. This methodology aligns with the approach we have exemplified in the book Hebrewisms of West Africa thus far, as per my review. However, it's important to recognize that innocent listeners, my audience, may interpret this information differently and construct elaborate theories around the notion that Ashantis are Edomites, despite the lack of substantiated evidence supporting such claims. Everything that I've said is bogus. I will not dare write a book or paper saying that the Ashantis are Edomites and give such references. But that is what we do. That is what we have done. That is what we continue doing. And that is what the book Hebrewisms of West Africa has done. Let's move on to another claim. Some argue that the Akan names Yah, Yahoo, Jehu, Yehu suggest a connection between the Ashanti and Israel. But rather, it suggests a connection between the Ashanti and Edom. Now, for your information, the Edomite deity known as Yah, Yahoo, or Yahweh was introduced to Israel, that is the northern kingdom, during the time of Jeroboam II's reign. You heard me right. That is why it's not called Israel Yahoo, it's called Israel, because the deity Yah or Yahweh was traditionally not the deity of the Israelites, the northern kingdom of Israel. So the Edomite deity Yah or Yahoo, or who you know as Yahweh, was introduced to Israel at a certain time. According to the Bible, Yahweh originated from the south, from an Edomite context. So those who assert, like my Ashanti apologetic brother, Yawada, trying to link the name Yah to Israel, newsflash, the deity in your name, Yah, Yahoo, who we know as Yahweh, according to the Bible, originated from an Edomite context, making you an Edomite. The earliest known reference to Yahweh come from the southern regions of Palestine, specifically the territories of Edom and Arabah. In the Hebrew Bible, there are 4 poetic texts that attribute a southern origin of Yahweh. These texts share common themes and consistently state that the God Yahweh hails from the south, Edom, possibly Midian as well. Deuteronomy 33:2. He said, Yahweh came from Sinai. From them he shone forth from Seir. Where is Seir? Go find out. Judges 5 verses 4. Yahweh, when you went forth out of where? Seir. When you marched out of the field of where? Edom. Habakkuk 3. God comes from Teman. Talking about Yahweh. He comes from where? Teman. Where is Teman? Edom. Even if you go beyond biblical references, an inscription discovered at Kontulet Ajud, primary source, references not only the Yahweh of Samaria, which is the northern kingdom, but also the Yahweh of Teman. Where is Teman? In the south, Edom. So, merely possessing the name of the deity Yahweh does not inherently classify individuals as Israelites. They could also be Edomites or Midianites, like my apologetic brother Yawada. Possibly an Edomite. So because somebody has the name of the deity Yahweh or a theophoric name, does not make them Israelites. Uriah has a theophoric name with the deity Yahweh, but he is a Hittite. So again, merely possessing the name of the deity Yahweh does not inherently classify individuals as Israelites. They could also be Edomites. And when we get to Yahweh, Nyame, we would get to know that this God Yah, this deity Yah, is actually the God of Thursday in the Akan context. Is he Nyame? We will get there. We acknowledge the historical practice where in biblical times, conquered nations had their sacred possessions plundered. Drawing from our presented and somewhat, should I say, substantiated arguments, the image on your page depicts an Edomite Ashanti king priest. This figure is adorned with the high priest breastplate as a symbol of triumph over the Israelites, while orchestrating the sale of 6 men on the raft as slaves to Europeans. I repeat that again. We acknowledge the historical practice where in biblical times, conquered nations had their sacred possessions plundered. What am I saying? That the figure in the picture, adorned with the high priest breastplate, is actually wearing it as a symbol of triumph over the Israelites, while orchestrating the sale of 6 Israelite men on the raft as slaves to Europeans. I believe this interpretation and narrative aligns with the type of scholarly interpretations we aspire to achieve. It's free for all. We take whatever we have and then we come up with stories around them that fits our narrative. So here you have it. An Edomite Ashanti king priest. It's even funny. Oh boy. An Edomite Ashanti king priest, adorned with a high priest breastplate as a symbol of triumph over the Israelites, while orchestrating the sale of 6 Israelite men on the raft as slaves to Europeans. They are on their way to Jamaica. And this is the kind of scholarship that we fancy. So here you have it. Even though it's not accurate, it sounds pretty good. When we endeavor to rectify misinformation and encounter resistance, it's essential to remember that opposing such efforts may inadvertently lead to the propagation of further inaccuracies. A word to the wise Ashanti is in the north. You get the gist. If this is the scholarship you want to hang your hat on, there you go. You claim Israelites or Judah, but there's evidence that may convince some people, as presented here, that you're rather Edomites. This is the kind of scholarship I'm trying to correct. But if you don't want it, have it your way. Tra, nyomanye ablao.